Arena football is the best time you'll have with your pants on. That's right. That would be Gene Simmons from today's press conference announcing the Washington AFL football team. Of course, more of that later. What's going on, everybody? YouTube, Reddit, Arena fan, anyone watching? What's going on? Hope you had a good week. Weather's getting warmer. March Madness is starting. If you watch college basketball, that only means one thing. We got Arena football just around the corner. 2 weeks from this Friday starts the Arena Football League. Kickoff starts 7 p.m. The Cleveland Gladiators taking on the Philadelphia Soul. And you'll see later, the War on I-4 has also been moved to 7 o'clock. That would be the Tampa Bay Storm and the Orlando Predators. But before we get started, I wanted to quickly go over a couple things with the channel. I got two things for you guys. Last week I mentioned the spreadsheet where it's going to have stats, players, rosters, that kind of stuff. I plan to maybe set up a newsletter. That's my thing right now. If I can get people to sign up, if you send me your email, say you're interested in a newsletter, I get enough interest, then I'll send out a newsletter each week with a link to the weekly update, maybe some fantasy news in there, a little bit more in detail of the weekly update, all that kind of stuff. I'll put it in the newsletter, and that way I'm coming to you. You're not having to search me out on YouTube or clicking links and all that kind of stuff. I'm coming to you with all this information. So let me know. Send me an email, arenafootballoutsiders@gmail.com, and I'll set that up if that happens to be what people want to do. Along with that, I started a blog this week to list every transaction that goes on with the AFL. So it's the same stuff you can get on AFL.com, but instead of having to decipher and have to go through each team, I have it right there for you, broken down by days, so you can just go to the blog there and I'll tell you all the transactions for that day, and just a quick and easy way to get to the transaction page. And this blog, as of right now, is really just for the transactions. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. It's kind of a work in progress, but if I don't get interest in the newsletter, then that's going to be where I post all that information. So that's arenafootballoutsiders.blogspot.com. Check it out, bookmark it, and I'll make sure that it's a good resource for you being an AFL fan. Let's get to why you came here, right? You came here for the news. Let's talk about the news. Biggest news of the week, if you watched my 2-3 minute video on Friday when the news came out, Washington is officially been named as a team for 2017. There were no updates on what the name is going to be. Right now they're just calling it Washington AFL team, but obviously that will come out later. But Scott Butera, the AFL commissioner, mentioned it on Friday. It was kind of just like a thrown out there, yes, there will be a team. But today was the introductory press conference, and Ted Leonis, he's the founder and owner of Monumental Sports, who owns the team. They also own a couple other teams. I think they own the Capitals and the Mystic in Washington. But this is what he had to say today. He said, "We're extremely excited to acquire an AFL team for Washington, adding arena football to the mix of the best sports teams in town. DC is a super city with a fan base that spans across the DMV region, and being able to provide another family-centric sports option to our community is an important endeavor." In attendance of this press conference, you had Tampa Bay Storm president Derek Brooks, Philadelphia Soul co-majority owner Ron Jaworski, yes, the ESPN personality Ron Jaworski, Jaws, LA Kiss owner Gene Simmons, and also the mayor of DC, Muriel Bowser. Like I said before, they didn't mention the name, what the name's going to be. The only kind of hint they mentioned was that obviously the colors are probably going to be red, white, and blue is probably going to be the color scheme. But it was really it was a press conference. It's available on their website. Go to their website if you want to see the whole video. But it was like a little mini party of getting everyone together, like pumping up the AFL, talking about how great it is, how it's a family event, but it's also in-your-face football. So I suggest you go check it out. It's only 38 minutes long, so it's not too bad. Ron Jaworski gets up there, and you could tell that he's a media guy compared to what Derek Brooks looked. You could tell he was a player. It's actually pretty funny, the contrast in how they talk at the press conference. But I suggest check it out. It's WashingtonAFL.com has a press conference, and you won't be disappointed. But they already said that season tickets are available if you're in the Washington area and you want tickets. They're only $50 for the whole season. If you watch my videos, you know I was a season ticket holder for the Lions. I paid the last year there, I paid $69 a ticket. I had 4 tickets, and you have to pay for the preseason games. So I had to buy 40 tickets, basically, 4 seats, 10 games. So I was paying like $2,000 for tickets. So $50, that's you're paying for the whole season, less than I paid for 1 ticket to 1 game, to a preseason game. That's how much cheaper it is to watch AFL, or to go to the AFL. My personal opinion on this is that there's nothing bad that can come from this. I mean, this is a big media market, being in DC, being at the Capitol. I mean, look at this. Look at the Redskins. They haven't been relevant since the 90s, and they can sell out their stadium every week. There's a waiting list to be on the season ticket list to watch the freaking Redskins. So there's a fan base there. They've set up a baseline for what, AFL could be. Even obviously, there's much smaller stadiums, but there are football fans in DC, and I'm excited to see how interested they are from the beginning, and if Washington keeps going, because Washington's been a team before. I know for sure they were the Commandos at one point. I'm not sure if they had another one, but they had the Commandos at the beginning of the Arena Football League. But if they can get a lot of fans there, at that big a media market, it can be only good. It's exposure to the league. And being in the Mid-Atlantic, like I live in Virginia. If I want to go in an AFL game, I either have to go up to Philly or south to Jacksonville. So having a team in Washington D.C. puts big league arena football, not IFL or CFIL or CIFL, stuff like that. It puts big arena football league within hours of me, and I can't be more excited. I really hope that the Kiss play in Washington next year, so I can go. I'm excited to see what players that they get. Obviously, it's an expansion team next year, so they're going to get some good players. Excited to see who's going to coach the team, all that kind of stuff. I'm generally excited as an AFL fan for a team to be in a market like Washington. And my opinion is, if there's a team in Washington, that's got to tell me that all these talks about putting teams in other places, there has to be some meat to that. Because why would a organization like Monumental Sports, who has all these other teams, why would they even bother with putting a team if there wasn't some baseline on the back end of this to say, yes, we will be a league, 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So this is great news if you're an Arena League fan, even if you're not going to be a Washington fan. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. This is only good news. But like I said before, if you want more information, it's WashingtonAFL.com, and go check out the press conference. The other bit of news that came out today, I mentioned it earlier, the Storm versus Predators game, week 1, the War on I-4 as they call it, originally scheduled for 7:30. They have moved it up to 7 o'clock, so if you plan on being at the game, make sure you're there a half hour early, and that way you don't miss anything. That puts the game, that kickoff at the same time as the Gladiator Soul game, so having them both on ESPN3, I'll be able to dual screen. It's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait till the first. I love that games are on ESPN3 too. I don't have to pay any extra for it. I just don't understand why you wouldn't watch it. Why not? If you're a football fan, why not? I know I'm preaching to the choir, because if you're watching this, you're just like me. You care about it too. Transactions though, this is another big list, so bear with me here. There's a lot of bigger signings this week, but a lot of it happened on Friday, March 11th. Jacksonville went on a spending spree, or they just decided to announce all of them at one day. I'm not sure how that worked there, but basically the Sharks signed, their first sign on Friday morning was LJ Castile. If that name sounds familiar, this is his 6th season in the league. He's accounted for 235 catches and 72 touchdowns while playing for the Kiss, and I'm pretty sure he played for the Voodoo as well. Also, the Sharks announced they signed defensive end Antro Dillon and offensive lineman Duke Robinson. Dillon enters his 5th season in the AFL. He spent his first 2 years in Arizona, winning a couple Arena Bowl championships. Then he spent 2014 with the Thunder and last year with the Kiss. He has 68.5 tackles and 8.5 sacks. And then Robinson enters his fourth season after playing with the Utah Blaze in 2013. The Spokane Shock in 14, and spent the last year and a half in San Jose with the SaberCats. Speaking of former SaberCats players, the Sharks also announced that they have picked up defensive back David Hyland. He was with San Jose last year, winning Arena Bowl 28. This is his sixth season in the league after starting with the Oklahoma City Yard Dogs. I couldn't tell you what league that is. I don't know if that's AF2 or what, but that's what Arena Football League, they put it in there. So I'm just relaying the news here. Utah Blaze he played for, and also, like I said, San Jose. Highland is probably the biggest name on this list. He's gotten 25 interceptions and 5 forced fumbles in his career as a defensive back, and he was named the playmaker of the game for last year's Arena Bowl. Another big name, Dexter Jackson. If you're a Storm fan, you know what I'm talking about. Linebacker, he played for the Storm for the last couple seasons. He also played with the SaberCats and the Predators. And to round out Friday's signings for Jacksonville, they announced 4 rookies for the AFL. Wide receiver Andrew Robustelli, sorry if I butchered that name. Offensive lineman Cody Precht, offensive lineman Rufus Quinn, and defensive end Laith Walschlager. On Friday, the Portland Steel also got in on the action by trading for former Oregon standout receiver Colt Lairla. He was signed initially with the Rattlers, but he refused to report. So the Steel got in and were able to trade for him. They traded away offensive lineman Jordan Mudge for him. So he's coming home. He played for Oregon. Now he's with Portland. But he played in 28 games for the Ducks in college, gaining 565 yards and 11 touchdowns. Rounding out more transactions, Tampa Bay Storm announced on Sunday they have brought back offensive lineman Ben Osai. He played for the Storm last year as well. This is his 6th season in the league, and he's also played in the CFL and a little bit in the NFL. And last but not least, let's go back to Jacksonville. On Sunday, they announced the signing of former CFL defensive end, Kareem Smith. Smith's biggest claim to fame was that he was with the BC Lions when they won Grey Cup 99. That's it for this week. I hope everyone had a good week. I hope you tune in this weekend for the American Conference review. I hope you checked out last week's the National Conference review. I know I made a couple mistakes on Cleveland's roster. I apologize for that. I guess they don't have Jeremy Richardson, and they don't have Willie McGinnis. They're both gone. I apologize about that. But yeah, so this week's going to be American Conference. That means the Jacksonville Sharks, Orlando Predators, Tampa Bay Storm, and the Philadelphia Soul. But that wraps up. Like I said, check out my blog, please. Let me know if you want to be part of it. If you are interested in the newsletter, like I said, it's arenafootballoutsiders@gmail.com, and the blog is arenafootballoutsiders.blogspot.com. Arena football. It's the most fun you'll have with your pants on. All right, everyone. Take care. Check me out this weekend. Check out my stuff. And I'll see you guys next week for next week's update. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Take care.